everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we'll be creating this makeup look. I have listed everything you need in the description below. Now first off, we're going to start with our brows. I prefer to use a retractable pencil just because I find that it's the most consistent shape and I'm able to be more sharp with it. I go in with the shade that is lighter than my eyebrow hair color, and then I go in with the shade that is the same color as my eyebrow hairs. After I take this flat, stiff brush, and I use that alongside an eyeshadow to fill in the rest of my eyebrow. Also, don't forget to go over the part where you did the eyebrow pencil, just to set everything in place. As you start filling in the front of the brow, try to go a little bit lighter. I find that if you go a little bit too dark in the front, it starts to look crazy, it starts to look boxy, and it's just not cute. That's why you see me going in with my finger afterwards to kind of blend it out and make it look more natural, I guess. And now we're going to go in with these two concealers, create a custom shade, mixing it together with this flat round brush, and we're going to use that to carve out our brows. Carving out the brows just helps it get a really glamorous look. I like to use a lighter color underneath the brow because I find that it really highlights it beautifully, and the lighter color gives a really nice base for the eyeshadow afterwards. Here I'm just checking the shape of my brows, measuring it against my nose and eye, just so that everything looks like it's in the right place. I go ahead and fill in all the rest of my eyelid with the same color, and don't forget to do the in-between of your brows. Next, I take my foundation shade, and that's what I'm going to use to carve out the top of my brow. Now, you're going to want to make sure that you go slow on this part. For me, I find it's a little more difficult to do the top of the brow just because I have to work above the eyebrow hairs, and it's a little harder to see, so don't be afraid to take your time. Now I'm just using my finger to make sure the front of the brows don't look too harsh. I use a beauty blender just to smooth everything out, prepare it for the eyeshadow. Now to set my brows, I'll take some hairspray and a spoolie, spray it on the spoolie, and just brush all my brow hairs into place so that they don't move. Now I'm just double checking to make sure everything looks good. Now using the lightest shade of concealer, I'm putting that on the inner corners of my eyes just to give it that really bright lift. Blending everything out with the sponge. And now we're going to take our translucent powder and our brush to lightly set the entire eye. Onto the eyeshadow. First, I'm using this really light peachy transition color, and I'm putting that towards the outer half of my eye. I'm starting off in the crease, like just a little bit above the crease, and I'm blending it up. You really want to take your time with this just to make sure that everything is diffused out. It makes for a really nice, soft look. Next, I'm going to take this dark brown color with the same brush, and I'm going to apply that a little lower to where we applied that light peachy color. I'm kind of stamping it into place just so that I have the general shape of what I want it to be, and then little by little, I'm diffusing it out. For this look, I'm trying to wing the eyeshadow up and out towards the tail of my eyebrow. Checking my work and it's looking good. Now taking a short, dense, fluffy brush, we're going to tap into that black eyeshadow and really focus it on that outer corner right near the lash line. Now when we're doing this black eyeshadow, we really want to almost mimic the look of fake lashes, like what it would look like if these really big winged lashes cast a shadow on your eyelid. That's kind of my idea when I'm going in with this. I'm just slowly building it up until it looks right, and I'm blending it into the lash line just so that everything looks like it's meant to flow together. Taking the last brush that we used, the big fluffy one, we're going to blend everything else out and make sure it all looks nice and diffused. Taking a short flat packing brush, we're going to dip back into that black and really focus that towards the lash line, just deepening the eyeshadow that we placed before. Don't forget to go in every now and then with that fluffy brush, make sure everything's blended out. I'm also slightly correcting the shape of the shadow, just so that it looks nice and winged out. Now I'm going to go in with a sparkly shade, and this is almost translucent. The only color that it picks up is the actual glitter, so it doesn't really change the color of whatever you got going on underneath it, which is part of why I love it. I'm putting it all over the lid and on the brow bone. And as you can see, it looks gorgeous. Now going in with my eyeliner. I prefer to use a pencil eyeliner just because I have better control over it that way. Whenever I use a liquid eyeliner, I find that it gets messy really quickly. I can do it in a pinch, but I just prefer this instead. And as I'm lining across my lashes, I'm making sure to keep it really tight and thin because I don't want it to overwhelm the entire eye. Beautiful, beautiful. Now I'm going into the inner corner and I'm pulling it a little bit further in than my natural inner corner. Next, we're going back in with that black and we're just going to set that eyeliner in the corner just to reinforce the darkness there. Honestly, you could stop right here. I think it looks really good. Now onto the face makeup. I just use a couple pumps of foundation. I find if I use more than that, it lays way too heavy on my face. And I'm going to use the butt end of my blender, and I'm just going to do that all around the perimeters of my face, kind of avoiding the under eye area, just because I don't want it to be too cakey when we put extra product there. Because the under eye skin is thin and it creases a lot, that's kind of why you want to avoid too much product. Next, we're going to go in with our second shade of concealer, and I'm just going to put that on my cheekbones and the other high points of my face as a kind of transition shade between the foundation and this lightest color that we're going in with. Now with our lightest shade of concealer, I'm just going in right under the eyes and right along the sides of the nose. We're making sure that the under eye is nice and bright. And I'm putting it also on all the high points of my face, the nose bridge, the sides of the nose, the top of the lip, and the middle of the chin. Now I'm just showing you the layout of how everything is. The whole idea is that we want the light to look like it's shining on the center of our face. Going in with our beauty blender, we're just going to gently blend everything out, trying not to move everything around too much. We kind of want to keep the colors right where we put them, so try not to drag out the colors too much. As I'm blending it out, I also kind of sharpen up the edge of the eyeshadow that we just did, just to really clean up that wing. Next, I'm just going to go in and reinforce the highlights just to make sure that they're nice and bright. Now we're going to go in with some translucent powder and our beauty sponge, and we're just going to set all of the places that we put that really light highlight color. We really don't want to disturb that, and we want to make sure it stays bright. I'm using quite a bit of powder right here. Don't worry about it looking too powdery. We will deal with that later, but this just helps everything really set in place so that it doesn't move at all. Next, we're taking a loose powder that is more close to our foundation shade, and we're going to set the rest of our face. When you're applying loose powder, you want to really push it into the skin so that it lays nice and smooth. Now I'm going to go in with some bronzer / contour and this big fluffy brush. I'm really focusing it on where we want depth in the face, so right under the cheekbones, right under the jaw, right under the lip. And we really want this to be nice and diffuse. That's why we're using this big fluffy brush. I'm using the corner of the brush to really get right in there. And because of all the powder that we placed before, it helps it blend out really smoothly. And I'm making sure to really chisel out my jaw too. Going in with that fluffy angled brush, we're going to be doing some blush. And I really like to put a lot of blush on, but I slowly build it up. And once again, because of all that powder that we put down before, it really helps it blend out super smoothly. We really don't want it to look too harsh. We want to look like it's almost coming from within the skin. Now we're going to go in with the lightest blush shade and pinch our brush so that it looks nice and flat like that. We're going to put that blush right up against our eye, in between our eye and the blush we placed before. That way it transitions nicely and blends into the lightest part of our makeup really seamlessly. I also dust a bit of blush across the tip of my nose because I think it looks really cute and brings it all together. And I'm also pushing it into my temples and where we placed that bronzer before. Now I'm going back in with some black underneath the eye just to really reinforce that dark lash look. And I'm also connecting it to the wing that we created earlier. And now with our little fluffy brush, we are going to dust off all the powder on all the highlights of our face. And now taking this giant fluffy brush, we're just going to dust all the rest of the powder off and blend everything together so it looks seamless. Going in with the light foundation powder, I am going to reinforce the highlight that we put underneath our eyes. Now going in with our lightest shade of powder foundation, we're going to focus that on the same area where we put it before, but even tighter to the inner corner of our eye and nose bridge. We really want it to look like the light is emanating from the center of our face. And using my finger, I'm going to take some of that powder and put it right on my nose bridge. I prefer doing this over contouring my nose because I find that nose contour can look a little too harsh for me. And this also kind of makes me look like a doll, and I love it. I put a little too much highlight, so I'm gonna put a little bit more blush on my nose again. Now I'm going to go in with my loose powder highlighter and a big fluffy fan brush. I'm going to dip into that and dust it all over the high points of my face. Look at how that just makes my cheek glow, like it's just so sparkly and pretty. Like it looks like the sunset is just hitting my face perfectly. see the glitter just flying everywhere. Oh, bless you. Going back in with my eyeliner, I am just going to redraw all of my beauty marks that have gotten lost under all the foundation. Now we're going to go in with our setting spray. Now you really want to be generous with this setting spray because of all that powder we put on. It's okay if your face looks a little drenched afterwards. It's going to make for a nice smooth finish. And as you can see, now it doesn't look super powdery. It's kind of just all melted together beautifully. Just had to feel myself a little bit, right? Cute, very cute. Now I'm just going in with some mascara and I'm going to coat all of my lashes, top and bottom. And now it's time for my crusty lashes. They were so crusty I had to throw them away right after this. You want to make sure that the glue that you apply is tacky before you apply the lash. If it's too wet, you're going to have a lot of trouble getting it to stick. Take your time applying your lash. You really don't want to rush this part. As the lash is drying, I push it up against my eye to make sure that it doesn't look droopy when it finishes drying. You want it to look as lifted as possible. Now going back in with some of those shimmer shades, reinforce that highlight on the inner corner. And going back in with the eyeliner just to bring back that nice cat eye. So cute. Now time for our lips. I'm going in with this retractable lip liner in a darker red than my actual lipstick. And I am going to outline my entire lip shape. Once you finish outlining, just make sure that you kind of drag it down in the corners just so that everything blends nicely when you apply your lipstick. Now I'm just adding my finishing touches, making everything look perfect, and then voila! Here we are. I'm looking so gorgeous. I'm looking so cute. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you do end up recreating this look, please tag me. I would love to see it. I hope this helped you out. I hope you got a lot from it. And yeah, thank you for your time. Love you guys so much. Catch you on the next one.